You are listening to Waywut? This is a weekly rabbit hole podcast that goes into a variety of topics ranging from the supernatural to sports to science or anything else that we find interesting. We post episodes every Tuesday. We post on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Pandora. Please follow us on any of those. If you prefer video, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want to talk to us or keep up with any random information we decide to talk about, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, under @Waywut Podcast. That does it for all the self-promotion stuff. Thank you for listening, and here we go.
Well, hello there. Welcome to episode number 6 of Waywut. I'm your host today, Jason Jiggers, and joining me, as always, my best friend and every third grade teacher's best student, Darrell Holiday. Darrell, how are we today?
It'd be better if you stopped trying to drag my youth into everything.
Oh, we've
Maybe
known
you
each other
are
for
a
that.
minor expert of the other kind.
We've known each other for that long. I have to throw it in there every time I can.
Hey, I just want to say, like having your voice in my ears, and you do, well, hello there. I'm like, I kind of
Hey,
get a little bit grossed out, like you're gonna
did it
have
give
to,
you
like,
goosebumps?
I
Oh,
think I think it's like you're gonna lick me or something. Well, hello there.
I do got a good liquor.
Gross.
Well, speaking of liquor,
Okay.
would you say when you're playing pool, what
Okay.
makes you play better when you go and shoot pool?
A cigarette.
Okay, true.
The James
What
Dean
else?
effect.
Yes, you are very good at taking a pool shot with a cigarette in your mouth.
Yeah.
That's pretty 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 nice to not what nice, but pretty impressive to see that happen.
Yeah.
Because
Unless
not
the
only
wind
does it
blows the
burn your
wrong
grass,
way.
well, I mean, you got it hanging out of your mouth, the smoke's all in your face, you're trying to line up a shot. It's
Yeah, but you
it's
look cool.
you look you look awesome. You look awesome.
I'll miss the shot, but by God, I'll look sexy while I
Oh
do
man, you
it.
look great. Yeah, super sexy. But what was our take you back? What was our secret sauce during our wiffle ball days? What made us succeed?
Beer.
Beer. Yes. In bowling, what makes you better when you bowl?
Practice.
No. That beer.
Beer.
Beer. For whatever reason, when we play wiffle ball, beer at 7:30 in the morning, it made us play great. We were pretty damn good.
Yes, I cannot find any faults in your logic at all.
No, when you drink, all of a sudden you become a fantastic pool player. You start banking shots in. You can even do something behind your back. You become amazing when you start drinking and play pool. In bowling, shit, you can start throwing two balls down there, making them all spin and at different times, and it works because you're drunk. And then you just play better. It's a fact.
Are you
It's a
sure
fact.
it's just that your memory might be a smidge skewed?
No, it's very true. You play darts, you play better when you're drinking. There's a reason why these games serve beer on the golf course. Tell me you don't play better drinking on the golf course.
It's hard to tell what's better between horrible and other horrible.
Well, for sure you have more fun.
Well, yeah, no, because usually if
Golf becomes
playing,
secondary at a certain point.
if I'm drinking while I'm playing golf, especially if I get like just drunk, I'll get to a point where I'll hit my tee shot, and if it is in the fairway and playable, I'm like, yeah, and I'll hit my next
Pick
shot.
it up. Pick it
Otherwise,
up.
I'll just sit there and be like, well, that flew off somewhere I don't feel like walking, and then I'll just sit in the golf cart and drink and
Yeah,
get
golf is
drunker.
totally secondary by the time you get to the back nine. But do you think Do you have any claim to fame in any of your sports days? All of it was based on, well, because I was drinking and I was really good and this happened.
Huh. I I mean, you know what? Now I think about it, the times that I broke 200 bowling, I was usually there. We were usually drinking beer by the pitcher. So, uh, yeah, I
So
guess.
it leveled
I
you up
was never
some.
like a sports hero though. Just like where everybody was like, "Ha!" and I'm like, "Okay, yeah." They held me on their shoulders like Rudy or something. It was never that. But
No, but everybody has some sort of small, but maybe some sort of claim on sports, doing something extraordinary, some sort of special feat.
see, I'm just not. I guess I'm not as sporty as you. The things that I've done while I've been drinking are usually just like more escapades. Like in the Philippines, uh, it was like pretty standard. Somebody needs to take a leak, they just right there on the side of the road, just whip it out and just start peeing.
Oh yeah.
So what they do in some of those towns, and especially in this town that I was staying in, they had like this thing that it was like a pee guard. So a please don't show us your dick guard, for you to stand and pee in a ditch. And so after drinking, I made sure that I peed in one, but not just peed in one. I got somebody take a picture of me while I peed in one.
You got to mark your territory.
This is my country now. It was the Spanishes. It was it was the Japaneses. It was the
Yeah.
Filipinos. Now it's Darrell's.
I literally watched my dogs pee on top of each other just the other day.
On top of each other's pee or on top of each
Yes,
other.
one. Yeah, we got a whole yard, and one pisses here, and then the other one goes right over to the same pile of piss and pisses on top of it.
Oh, today I actually got to watch my dog pee on the other dog trying to pee on his pee.
That's even better.
He missed.
Well, he maybe should have had a beer. He probably would have had a better aim.
What is your claim to fame with beer laden
Well, and
competition?
I've always bowled better. I'm a pretty consistent bowler, but I mean, not in the last several years. But when I did bowl, I was pretty decent.
You
But
did take bowling in college after all.
I did. But add in couple of beers, and all of a sudden my average shoots up a whole lot. Pool, I'm pretty good at pool. Without any beer, add some beer to it, I become really good at pool.
I just think you feel better about your play.
Well, I think it just calms your mind a little bit. You don't think about it too much. You just shoot. But
Yeah.
my claim to fame will probably have to be in some sort of softball tournament, playing at the age of 16, playing a bunch of grown men, and my cousin at the time. I probably shouldn't tell who it is, just so he don't get in trouble. But we had the first game, and I had a horrible game. It was bad. They ended up putting me at catcher. That's how bad it was when
Yeah.
you're get moved to catcher in
In the
softball.
softball,
It's
yeah.
yes. So I'm like, okay, I got to step it up next game. So in the parking lot, he fed me a bunch of beers. The next game was amazing.
You're
I made it
like
over the.
Popeye with spinach.
I don't know what happened. I made an over the shoulder running catch in right field up against the fence, like
So
everybody was like
whenever
screaming
you
and high fiving about.
when you drank the beer, did you like squeeze it and it shot in the air and you caught it in your mouth, and then you
I
had
double
like
fisted it like Stone
baseballs
Cold.
in your biceps?
No, I double fisted it like Stone Cold and smashed them together and just got completely drenched. I absorbed it through my skin mostly.
for
But
for um my mom and my aunt's Stone Cold was a wrestler that would smash beers together and drink them there. Sorry. I
who
want
doesn't
everybody
know
to
who
be
Stone
included.
Cold? Oh, Stone Cold.
We
Who
didn't
doesn't know
have
Stone
cable.
Cold? Oh, everybody knows who Stone Cold is. But this
My
leads
mom.
me to professional athletes. You know,
Okay.
they don't quit drinking. They don't quit doing drugs. In fact, they actually mix the two sometimes, and they still perform at a very, very high level. And that's what brings me to today's topic is extraordinary sports feats done while intoxicated.
All right. I know Ricky Williams isn't going to be on this list.
No, no, no. First, I'm going to start off small. I'm actually going to start off with a person who had all the potential of doing some great sports, but he got a little too far out of balance with the drugs and the alcohol, and not so much of the sports. What I'm referring
Ooh.
to is Todd Marinovich. As a kid, he was pushed really hard by his dad, had grueling workouts, really tough on him, always pushed him to be the best. Well, it helped him become to play for the Raiders and was end up being the first round draft pick by the Raiders. But
Mm.
he could never quit partying. He got addicted to heroin. He started smoking crack, and football became secondary. And he actually ended up just only throwing 8 touchdowns in 2 seasons. In two
Oh wow,
seasons. So
that's
drugs,
what 32 games.
32 games, and yeah, about 32 games.
So
First
he
round
threw a
draft pick.
touchdown every 4 games.
Yes. So he drugs 1, Marinovich 0.
I
He
mean,
did
wait,
not have a sports feat.
honestly, I have a feeling. I mean, not necessarily where this story's going, but just his story in general is like I could just hear the millions of dollars just getting just smoked
Snorted it.
away in a crack pipe. It's just. I mean, that's how it usually goes. It's like I got a lot of money. I like crack. I have no money.
Well, speaking of crack, we're going to move on to the next guy who
Whoa,
you've probably heard of.
wait. What's this incredible feat? He didn't do anything
He
incredible.
didn't
What
do
is it?
no, no. This was an attempted feat. He had all the makings. It's like a tornado watch and a tornado warning. He had all the
Okay.
makings of a great sports
So
feat.
this is drugs doing what we expect them to do.
The first guy, I'm going to ramp it up. Each person is going to have a gradual increase in their sports. How great they were in this
So
feat.
he's your baseline. He's reality that most people
Yes, if you
smoke crack
smoke
and do
heroin,
heroin. You're
yes, you're
you're
going to
you're gonna suck at whatever you do.
absolutely.
Okay.
Only thing he was good at was doing heroin and doing crack.
I'm really
He
good at
wasn't.
this, Dad. Look,
Uh,
I
well,
didn't
speaking of
miss the
crack,
vein. Anyway,
do you remember the pitcher by the name of Dennis the Oil Can Boyd?
yeah, he played for the Rangers.
Yeah, he was a great pitcher. He was great. But for every game or every day of the 1986 season, he did crack. He
I think I
actually,
have his 1986 baseball card.
well, he actually got caught with it because he would put it underneath his hat during the game, and it actually at one point during the game spilled out all over the mound
Oh
while he's
wow,
pitching.
I bet he was pissed.
Yeah, it was a lot at that time. Yeah, all over the dirt. I mean, you can't just scoop that up and put it back in the baggie at that point.
I
You
mean,
gotta,
yeah. It's like,
man.
and I thought I picked it up. I tried to smoke it, but it was just freaking chalk.
And it was just dirt, yeah. But he had a pretty good career. He wasn't an elite level pitcher, but he was pretty good. And for somebody to smoke crack every day, he was a pretty decent pitcher. He
Every
could probably
day
make
for.
the crack all star team.
I gotta say his heart definitely belongs in some sort of. I mean, every day for a year, and his heart did not explode out of his chest.
Right. I mean, you're pitching, you're exerting a lot of energy. You have who knows how much crack in your system. It's pretty amazing.
It
Pretty
always cracks
amazing.
me up whenever rich people do crack, because crack was like cocaine for poor people.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you make millions. Snort cocaine like a fucking millionaire should. If you're gonna
Especially in the 80s.
do drugs right.
Right, especially in the 80s. He
Yeah.
knew Darryl Strawberry. They were all around the same time.
I mean, if I was famous and rich in the 1980s, I totally would have been snorting cocaine off of Goldie Hawn's ass, just like
Who
any self-respecting Hollywood star should.
who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? All right. Of course, we got to talk about the great Bambino, Babe Ruth.
Uh huh. Notorious
Legend hat.
drunkard.
Notorious drunker, so of course I got to throw in a little small story here. We know how great he was, but I'm just going to throw in a small story because of how lame the attempt was. They underestimated how greatness he was, not only because he could play baseball, but of his drinking ability. The entire White Sox team tried to outdrink him the night before a game. They lost. Not only did they lost, he showed up to the game drunk still, but he absolutely destroyed them in that game.
Was this when he was still a pitcher, or was he
He
just
was this game was just a pitch or the hitter, but
okay?
he absolutely destroyed them. The other team, not so much. He showed up. They tried to outdrink him. He proved them all wrong and destroyed them.
That's hilarious. It's like, oh
It's
god,
pretty good.
that feeling of still being drunk in the morning. Oh,
Uh, that's another common theme you'll see here.
I mean, I remember like having to go do like the ACT test, still
Oh
drunk from the
yes,
night before. Yeah, and that senior car wash, that was the one that I started the morning off with a beer too, though, to kind of help balance it out.
yeah, hair of the dog.
Yeah,
What about Wade Boggs? When you think of the name Wade Boggs and what he looks like, he just looks like he looks like to me like a softball player because of his super Bob Selleck type mustache.
uh,
It's
do
very,
not. Hey, do
I
not.
like it.
Okay, I was gonna say Tom Selleck's mustache is what I aspired to as a child, and I am still disappointed in myself as a man that I
That you can't
cannot
grow one.
grow a Tom Selleck mustache.
No. Did
It
I
is
say
the
Bob
bane of
Selleck?
my existence.
Yes. His mustache is wonderful, but when you think of him as a player, he looks like a softball
Yeah,
player.
he had a big old bushy mustache, and he wasn't. Yeah, he was just kind of. He was a ginger, wasn't he?
He was a ginger, yes. He had a red
Yeah, I knew there
beard,
was
a red
something wrong with him.
mustache. But with a softball player, I'll automatically think this guy could drink. This guy could drink. He just looks like a guy that can drink. His claim to fame, he won the World Series with the Yankees. He played for numerous teams. He was a 12-time All-Star, but he was also a notorious drinker. He drank a lot. He drank uh, up to 60 to 100 beers in a day per various other players, and claims to have drank on a cross-country flight, say from Boston to California, which is about what, probably about a 6-hour flight, you think?
Yeah, about that.
7 maybe, to have drank 100 beers in that time from takeoff to landing.
It takes me like a week to drink a 6 pack.
You remember that time we sat on my back porch and tried to kill a keg because not many
Yeah,
people showed up to a party and we were just sucking it right out of the tube?
how many beers is in a keg? I can't remember. Is it like
Glad you asked that.
150? Oh,
165
100.
12-ounce beers in a keg.
And yeah, we didn't even put a
No,
dent in that
not even
sucker.
close. No, and this guy he drank over half
I
of it.
couldn't imagine that. Like, I mean, whenever I was in my 20s, I'd buy a 30 pack and I would
And
leave it in my
it
fridge,
would
and
go
it would
bad.
it would well, no, not would go bad. No, because my 20s, I was still pretty. I drank pretty often back then, uh, and it would still last like a couple weeks. I couldn't imagine trying to kill one of those, let alone two or
Two.
three of
I mean,
those.
at some point, you would think he would be cut off, but I guess he was coherent enough
He is
to still
Wade
drink them.
fucking Boggs. If he wants a
Yes.
beer, you give him a beer.
Well, obviously, because he not only, he was a 12-time All-Star, went over all his accolades, but during that game, during that cross-country flight, he showed up to the game, went 3 for 5, like nothing was wrong.
Is he alive?
I think he's still alive. Yeah, he's not
Mhm.
playing anymore, of course,
Well,
but
God no, I'd hope not. He's probably like 70 now.
yeah, he's probably pretty old.
Damn.
Pretty old.
I wonder if he still drinks 100 beers a day. Do you think his corpse will be flammable?
Some of these guys could be.
Let's
Some of
cremate
these
him.
guys.
This will be easy. Just toss a match.
I know you've heard the name of Tim Raines, former Expo great, played for 13 seasons, 7-time All-Star, 4-time stolen base champion. Had a
You
really
underest
famous. Now you'll know who I'm talking about when I give you his nickname. His nickname was Rock, Tim Rock Raines.
you
No,
underestimate my lack of sports knowledge. But I forget that the Montreal Expos were ever a team.
yeah, it was a while ago. It was a while ago, but he was known for sliding headfirst into bases when he was stealing them. The reason he did that was because his Coke was in a vial in his back pocket. So if he was to slide on his hips or on his butt, he
It'd
would
break the
break the
vial.
Coke. He would break the vial. So he was known to sliding headfirst because of his Coke
Hey,
addiction.
that's just taking care of things that you spend money on, and
I,
I admire that. I mean, if
it,
you're going to spend
yes,
that much money on something, you take care of it.
but do you really think his nickname comes from being built like a rock, like he said? He claims that his nickname The Rock or Rock comes from being built like a rock, or do you actually think it's because of the rock he carried in his glass vial in his back pocket?
Well, I mean, I'd imagine if it was cocaine, like a respectable millionaire in the
Mhm.
'80s, it
Mhm.
would be in powder form, and he wouldn't have crack rocks. Please tell me it wasn't crack. I
It
mean,
wasn't crack.
he's in
It was Coke.
All right,
It
I
was
was about to
Coke.
say he was in Canada. I mean, come on, it's Canada.
Yes. But that was a new one to me. I didn't know he was a cokehead
I
or
mean,
alleged cokehead.
a millionaire in the '80s. I mean, that was like a rite of passage. You'd like walk into like your country club, and they would be like, "Here, let me put this little spoon under your nose. Toot toot. Welcome to our country club. Enjoy our facilities."
But thinking about what coke does to you and then actually trying to play a physical sport and not passing out or keeling over out there, that's unbelievable. Especially him stealing bases like he did and
I
not just
mean,
swinging a bat.
I lack knowledge here because I never did cocaine and I never really played a lot of sports. So it's hard for me to imagine either of those.
Just imagine your heart beating really, really, really fast and never stopping, and then
Okay.
exercising with a really fast beating heart.
Ooh, that'd be uncomfortable.
Yes,
That would be unpleasant.
it would be unpleasant.
Which,
Unpleasant.
if I remember right, like I think cocaine like basically opens up the receptors on your brain and helps you like just dope. It makes your brain like dump the happy hormones all over those receptors, and so that's why everybody's like, "Yeah, I'm so good," so happy. So I mean, maybe you're just like so thrilled the entire time that you don't notice that you're about to have cardiac arrest and die.
Yes, or you're just so used to it, but just amazing. Just
I'm
amazing.
used to my heart beating like a
This
hummingbird's.
this is normal.
My resting beat is 200
It's
beats per minute.
200.
I'm relaxed today.
Well, what about Andre the Giant? I know you know who Andre the Giant
Yes.
is.
Yeah, his documentary on HBO was about one of the saddest damn things I ever watched.
True, it was very sad, but it was really good.
It was really good.
It really opened up to how miserable his pain was and his life was,
Yeah, because I mean,
how
you're
kind of
that,
alone he was. Yeah,
yeah, being that large that where you can't do normal people things is, and the human body's not really built to handle that weight load. That's why we have all those little gopher carts at Walmart because those really really fat people that are all there, and you know who you are.
yeah.
Your bones can't handle the weight load, so you got to get in your little motorized scooter and take up the entire damn aisle. Anyways, go on.
I'm just thinking of the lady in the aisle that
Hate
not
that
is in my,
lady.
that's in my way. It's always
Hate
the
that
same
lady.
lady.
Really? Oh, come on,
Yeah,
dude. I know where
it,
you live.
it,
It's
it
not the
all looks
same
like this.
lady.
It all looks like the same lady.
Oh,
They're all. the same category.
All right, so now you're like a body shamist. All fat people look the same.
If they're riding on those motor
Each of
scooters,
those
they're probably fat.
horrible fat people are their own horrible individual, and you need to respect that.
I can respect that they're fat. If they ride one of those motor carts, more than likely they're obese.
Don't hate them because they're fat. Hate them because they take up the
I hate
entire
them
damn
because they're in my
aisle.
way. Yes.
They park like those assholes in the big giant trucks that park slanted
So
because their truck is too long to be able to like park
park
normal.
like a normal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
except they're like, well, my ass is so wide that I have to sit there and park this thing diagonally while I sit there and bark at my husband. No, get the one with extra sugar.
Well, back to Andre the Giant.
Uh-huh.
Uh, he was in The Princess Bride, and
Yes.
we back that up a little bit. With him being the size of he was, of course, it would take an extraordinary amount of liquor or beer or wine or whatever he may be drinking, or all of it, to get him any sort of intoxicated. And of course, he was on the Princess Bride, and during this, he racked up a $40,000 bar tab in 1 month.
Wow. That's in 1980s prices.
Yes, where beers were like 50 cents or $1. They estimated he drank up to 7,000 calories of alcohol a day.
Dang.
But his claim to fame was on a 4-hour bus ride to the Royal Rumble. He drank 16 bottles of wine, plum wine. I'm not sure the difference other than plum and grapes, but the alcohol level, but 16 bottles. He then
Jeez.
competed in the Battle Royal and then also 2 additional matches that same day after being on a 4-hour bus ride and drinking 16 bottles. That's 4 hours or 4 bottles an hour.
That's
That's 1 bottle every
that
15
makes me
minutes.
nauseous. I
Could
mean,
you
it's one
imagine
thing
the
whenever
vomit?
it's one thing whenever like you think of him drinking beer because one of my favorite pictures of him is where he's sitting down and he has a can of beer in his hand
And you
and
can barely see the can.
it looks like a shot glass or something. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it is tiny. Like the
You probably
can
kill it
is
in
like
one
the
drink.
size of his thumb.
Yeah.
But like you
A
just
bottle of
say the
wine is probably
word
like a cup of
wine.
wine.
I mean, that seems heavy to me. I mean, like I'm not a huge wine drinker, but
No.
just the thought that I mean, the only thing I can equate it to is like what happens if you drink, say, I don't know, a half a bottle of apple juice. How does your stomach react to that?
Very acidic. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be like rocketing around with loose poops, just shooting
Uh,
all over the place. I can't imagine what this poor man's bathroom looked like. Whichever end it came out of, it would not have
well,
been good.
man. But how he was able to hold it together and perform in a battle royal
Because he was
and
Andre the friggin' Giant.
just unbelievable.
They one of my favorite stories of him on The Princess Bride is they were like trying to keep things quiet on the set, and apparently the director was getting all irritated with everybody, and so everybody's silent for a moment, and then he let out like this 30-second long fart. Just, and he's like, sorry, boss. Thought that was hilarious.
That was pretty good. All right. 1 second.
Now I want you to drink 16 more of those.
I can't drink at all anymore.
What? Not even bottles of water?
No, I have a swallowing issue.
You.
All right. Well, no, it's nothing like that. It's more of an anxiety thing.
uh,
Anyway, uh, David Wells, former
okay.
New York Yankee great pitcher.
Boo.
Not, yeah, he too looked like a softball player. He had a giant belly. He did not look like a baseball. He looked like a bowler. He looked like a
You don't
bowler.
really get that anymore nowadays. Now all of them look like
No, everybody's
freaking
jacked.
bodybuilders and stuff.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought they got
everybody's
them
jacked.
off of the juice. I don't understand
I don't
it.
know. They just found other ways to go around the testing for the juice.
I don't know. I just remember there when the 80s you'd watch baseball and there were so many like dudes that look like guys that you'd see like at a gas station. Like
Yeah,
Charlie Huff. Charlie
somebody
Huff
substitute in your science class.
Charlie Huff, yeah, he looked like either a substitute or a grandpa. Either one. That fool like played baseball, I think into his 50s.
Yeah, Nolan Ryan. He don't look like a baseball player, but he would sure beat the shit out of you.
Oh, that was great. Another time.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, David Wells played for the Yankees in 1998. He attended a Saturday Night Live after party. Got completely hammered. Stayed out to about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Got about 1 hour sleep before his scheduled start that the next day. End up pitching a perfect game after being hungover from a Saturday Night Live after
It
party
is and with an hour of sleep.
with an hour of sleep. And you could imagine the after party was pretty epic. You know, Saturday Night Live in the 90s was the glory days.
All right, so I'm going to do a Darrell thing and I'm going to equate this to movies. For
Okay.
me, this kind of justifies the movie For Love of the Game, where Kevin
Yes.
Costner
Great
is
game.
completely distracted the entire time thinking about his ex-girlfriend and throws a perfect game. I could see like a dude that's like hungover, has an hour of sleep, partied his ass off, and the whole time he's just like, dude, I
He's getting me
can't
through
believe I
this.
did that last night. Did you see Tina Fey's tits? That's 3 outs. Okay, cool. I'm going back to the dugout.
All right. Moving on to the tier of extraordinary sports feats. Next, we on our list we have Bernie Harbaugh.
Oh,
He
that's a cool
was,
name.
oh yeah, he's definitely an old school baseball player. Played for the Boston Red Sox in the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. Before each game, though, he would smoke joints. He would drink beer. He took amphetamines and washed it all down with pain pills and a cigarette. And he would do this. He would do this before the games.
All right. See, this is one of those times where I kind of wish I had a whiteboard because I feel like we need to do drug equations right now. You know, where your uppers are
What's
the
canceling out?
positives,
Yeah, yeah.
and
What's
your
canceling out?
downers are the
What
negatives, and you start like factoring it down.
crossfading?
Yeah, and then you reach at the end and you're like, okay, so at the end of this, he
It's
was
normal.
stimulated. He was sober.
Well, he was so stimulated that in the sixth game of the 1975 World Series, he hit a pinch hit 3-run home run. And what's significant about this home run is what allowed Carlton Fisk to hit his game tying home run, the whole waving,
Uh
moving
huh.
it down the foul pole. That home run allowed Carlton Fisk to hit his home run. So without the joint smoking, beer drinking, amphetamine popping, pill popping, cigarette uh, smoking home run hitter, that would have never happened.
Did he go on to be an air traffic controller, like an airplane? Could
He
you
could only
imagine with
send on one direction, though. He could only send on one direction.
could you imagine, like what his life would have been like? Say, I don't know, he didn't take the amphetamines. If he's like didn't take the amphetamines and he struck out, and he'd be like, I picked the wrong day to quit amphetamines.
Yeah.
Guess I picked the wrong day to stop drinking.
What a awful. I thought it was pretty cool.
That
Pretty
is,
cool.
yeah. No, I mean he did a Keith Richards amount of drugs and
Allowed one of the most epic scenes in baseball history to happen.
mm-hmm. It's interesting.
Well, speaking of epic or history making, we're going to talk about Max McGee. Max McGee he played for the Green Bay Packers. He played in the very first Super Bowl.
Ooh.
And what his claim to fame is, he was even a starter. The night before the game, he got absolutely hammered. He was thinking he was not going to play the next day, so he just like, hell with it. I'm not going to play. I'm a backup. I'm going to get hammered. This is a Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl ever. So I'm going to get hammered. He arrived to the game still drunk. He even forgot his helmet. He forgot his helmet. He was so drunk. Showing up to this freaking Super Bowl and you don't bring your helmet. Anyway, he told the starting receiver, Boyd Dowler, I hope you don't get hurt. I'm not in very good shape. So naturally, on the second play of the game, Mr. Dowler, Boyd Dowler, gets hurt with a separated shoulder, out for the game. So uh, Max McGee has to come in and play for him.
I've been looking at him like, you did that on purpose, did you, piece of shit?
Yeah, so him still being drunk and him forgetting his helmet, he had to borrow a helmet, and he scored on a one-handed reception thrown by Bart Starr and made the first touchdown in Super Bowl history.
Well, that is not bad. That is not a bad way to perform in
Not
a
a bad
hangover.
way. No. So he not only had to borrow somebody's helmet, but he was still hungover, and now he's remembered by scoring the first ever Super Bowl touchdown.
I love how he had to show off when he did it too. One-handed, mom. Look at me.
And the last sports feat, and the greatest sports feat in the history of all sports feats, I am referring to Mr. Doc Ellis. Doc Ellis was a Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher, and he pitched a perfect game. But not only did he pitch a perfect game, he pitched his perfect game while tripping balls, completely thrown off his rocker by LSD. The story goes he went to LA to visit his friend. Okay.
Of course, it's
He went to LA to,
California that did it.
of course. He stayed up late drinking, doing drugs, including LSD. This was all on June 11th. Okay. He was scheduled to start the next day on June 12th. Well, on June 11th, he's drinking, he's doing LSD, gets completely hammered, passes out. He wakes up thinking it's still the day before his start. He was like, "What day is it? What day is it? Is this?" Thinking he still had another day. They're like, "It's good. You're good. You're good. You still have another day." So naturally, he takes another hit of LSD.
Why
So this is
not?
at why not? This is at noon. The noon of the day of his scheduled start. 2 hours later, he realizes, "Oh shit, today is my start." So he hurries, and hops on a plane to San Diego, and makes it to the ball field just about 90 minutes before the first pitch of the game. So he shows up, tripping balls, gets to start. He ends up throwing the no or not a perfect game. He ends up throwing a no hitter.
Okay. Still
Okay,
impressive.
it's still impressive. Still impressive. Somehow he only hit one batter. He only hit one batter. He ended up walking 8.
Yeah. I was going to say, you could lose a no hitter.
You could lose a no hitter, yes, but he somehow pitched a no hitter. What was cool about it is the major league has never released any footage of this game. There's no footage to be seen of this game anywhere.
That is regrettable.
I
That
could
is.
only
What year
imagine
was it?
it was. I didn't write that down. I'm sorry.
But I
I think it was
mean,
in the 70s.
all right. So I mean, yeah, I guess it's. I mean, I guess it's possible. I mean, there's a lot of baseball games.
There is a
Uh,
lot of baseball games,
I
but
mean,
what
and I
was
doubt
funny,
they have every game.
they nowadays everything is recorded,
Well,
and even
nowadays,
but it's still a baseball game, a major league baseball game that has no footage, even by the Pittsburgh Pirates themselves
all I
or
keep seeing in my head though is like, one, that stupid Pittsburgh Pirate jersey that they've always
the
had with
old
the
one,
hat, where the hat's all
the
boxy
stupid hat.
looking. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like a
keep seeing
train
that,
conductor.
and a dude with like a child molester mustache and big eyes, just big white eyes, just like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, it actually stories goes at certain points of the game when he was pitching, he thought he was pitching to Jimi Hendrix at one point,
You're not
and he
that
also
special.
thought he was pitching to Richard Nixon, taking at a bat during a random game.
Why was it always famous people? Why would I mean, again, like. I don't have that much experience with sports and drugs, but I would like to think if I was in that situation, I would be seeing cartoon characters or something along those lines. I mean,
Yes.
Jimi Hendrix would probably be pretty cool, and but I mean, I don't know. It just I'm just saying he lacks imagination for
Yeah.
somebody who's
By
taking
the
like
time
a
Jimi Hendrix was pretty
hallucinogen.
big.
Well, I mean, he'd been dead since '68, or no, that's '68. No, I'm wrong. He died in. Let's see. He did Woodstock. He died when he was 28. I don't know. Yeah, he might have still been alive whenever this no hitter was thrown.
Yeah. Well, that was the greatest sports feat in the history of sports feats.
So, I mean, do you think things looked in his head like the way that we see video games nowadays? Whenever you play
Oh yeah,
baseball
everything's
games, and
pixelated.
it's got
Yeah.
like the box, and
Doot, doot, doot.
I mean, if they didn't have it, he might have been the guy that eventually designed it. Where he's like, "See, all right, what you got to do is you got to have a box with here, and you pick where you're going to throw it, and then the ball will go wibble wobble." Which like God, oh, I'm having a flashback right now. One of my most
Wiffle ball.
despised games for Nintendo ever. Bases Loaded and Bases
Oh yeah.
Loaded 2. Hated those games because whenever the way the pitching worked in that game is you could make that ball rise and
You
fall
could
on the
control it with a
same
control pad.
pitch. And you had to sit there and pick whether to swing up or down. That was too complicated. I needed it to just go left and right. Don't make it go up and down. That was too hard.
I agree. Baseball games for the Nintendo were really hard to play.
Too hard.
Yeah, well, that is my extraordinary sports feats done while intoxicated. I hope you enjoyed that.
I did. It was fantastic. I mean, it
And
doesn't
that will
make
be
me
my
want to do drugs. So, I mean, you did a good job of
no,
not promoting it. So,
and that'll be my last sports themed topic for a few episodes.
I'm
I was getting them.
surprised.
I was
Color me
getting them out of the
stunned.
way. I was getting them out of the way.
Well,
So
all right. It was a good one. Good job.
it was a good one. That was fun.
All right. Well,
I guess
then
we'll see y'all next time. Or
that's what you got. That's your outro.
that's
Come
my
on.
outro. Stay jolly. I don't know.
Don't steal. You could just as there be like, kids say no to drugs.
Say no to drugs. Play sports, and listen to our podcast.
There you go. I like it. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Good evening.
All right. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to Waywut. We really appreciate it. Remember that we post episodes every Tuesday and would love for you to rate us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or Pandora. If you are watching us on YouTube, throw us a comment, subscribe, and do all the other things that YouTube likes for you to do. You can stalk us on Facebook and X/Twitter with the handle Waywut Podcast. Once again, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit, and join us next time when we'll get you to say, "Wait, what?"